Hello, hello. Welcome back. It's another Friday, and therefore it's another Friday with Dannphan, the first of the year, guys. I hope you all had a wonderful Christmas, as well as a exciting New Year's. And now we were kicking off 2026. I'm pretty excited. There's a bunch of, a new year, it always gives you like that feeling of, okay, restart, refresh. Here are all the things that I want to get done for this particular year. And I do want to bring about a couple different changes, and as well, of course, new stuff, new comics, new projects, new videos, a new backdrop. I'd like to get started on that. I mentioned it before, but there are like some changes I'd like to make. In general, I think the background looks quite nice, quite nerdy. I like a lot of the posters, actually. Might even say that I like all the posters as they are, but there may be new posters in the future, I guess. One of the things I want to do is I want to do like kind of a more promotional style setup of the background, right? So like right now I just have like a bunch of manga. I got like some of Adam's books kind of scattered around over here. We have like some original stuff, like obviously the Reaper stuff, but then we also have like some anime figurines, the Fallout. To be fair, people see that and then they're like, oh my god, she's cool because she has one of those things. So I guess there's that, right? But what I would actually like to do is dedicate like a section of the shelf to indie comics that I'd like to promote, to just like, every time I review an indie comic here on the channel and it's good and I'd like more people to read it, I would like it to get a spot on the shelf, to just be there forever and for people to look at it and be like, yeah, I earned that spot, because I think that's kind of a nice thought. Additionally, obviously, I'll like make a section for like my own comics and Burning Star books and stuff like that. That'll stay, of course. I have to promote my own stuff, but it's a nice thought to do a little extra for the comics that you review that you actually really like, and showcase them, display them, and help continue to promote them, even if it's just something small, like putting them permanently on the backdrop of your videos. I think it's a nice idea. I don't know what you guys think, but that's what I think. And there's also, I have all kinds of different posters that I could put up, right? Like I said, I'm kind of happy with what I already have up, but I could switch like one or two things around, maybe. I could move me and Adam posing with Venom, stuff like that. The small things can certainly be moved around a lot easier. I also have, for the shelf, a book nook. This was a gift given to me a while ago, actually. I was originally planning to put it together on video, like a vlog type of video for the channel. But honestly, this looks a lot more complicated than I really bargained for. And God, I just feel like it'll add so much more stress to me to film myself like putting this together in one sitting versus just like relaxing and putting it together every now and then and not really worrying about making a video out of it and editing it together. You know what I mean? Or maybe even a live stream with putting this together would be better than just like just trying to edit a video, because it really looks complicated, and maybe looks can be deceiving. Maybe it's not actually that complicated, but yeah, it would be a nice book nook to separate like some of the books that I'd like to promote, as well as my own books, of course, right? And I have some new ideas in general of stuff that I'd like to do to help promote Burning Star Comics. It'll be a lot easier once I am finished with the Reaper 2 campaign, because that has been eating up so much more of my time than I bargained for. Granted, I knew that this was going to be a challenge to do, to say the least. Oh my god, why did I give myself so much work? Why did I do it, guys? But yeah, over 200 pages. 200 pages of comic. Why did I do that? Why did I? And then all the while, of course, I've been trying to learn how to get better at art. It feels like maybe something you should do before you start a 200-page comic, but I'm not smart. You see? That's the thing. These are the mistakes that you make when you don't think ahead. But you know how it is. I'm sure you've also made similar mistakes. For sure. You can put it together, then take it apart and put it together again live. Oh my god, people do that, don't they? Because it's much easier to, in theory at least, it's much easier to put it together the second time. I don't think it would be, though. I think I would just confuse myself even more putting it together a second time. I think it would be much harder, actually. Oh, man. Been stuck with a cold for the last couple days, steadily getting better. Well, I hope things work out, man. Get some rest, relax. Chicken soup and all the hot drinks usually help for whatever reason. Let's see. If you wait to get better, you'll never start, because you can do that literally forever. Well, I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know if I believe in that anymore. Maybe at one point I believed in that, but now that I've actually done it, I'm like, nah, this was wrong. This was actually very wrong. I mean, at least if you have an art goal to get to, you know, if you have like an achievable art goal, then it's fine to like get to that goal and then develop a new goal, but start on a project, right? But when you have no direction and you just start on a project anyway, it's probably not a good idea. It's probably really dumb. But sometimes you gotta make mistakes to learn that what you did was dumb, and then you can warn other people about it online so that they don't do that. That's me. I'm doing my part for you. But yeah, so I will definitely be finishing Reaper 2 soon. Not when I wanted to, but soon. The plan right now is I want to be finished by the end of February, like finished the actual book, finished drawing everything, and hopefully have all of the extra art and other pages together. Later today and probably tomorrow, I'm actually going to start on the preview to book 3, which I've not drawn at all yet, but that was one of the extra pages that I promised as part of the campaign, was you would also get a preview to the next book. So I'll start doing that first, because I think that they're just going to be like very loose sketches for that one. And, you know, maybe in general, that'll just help my brain get into a writing mood so that I can better edit some of the pages for the last chapter, because I am officially done chapter 11. Thank goodness, right? But there's just one more chapter to go, and then the extra pages, and that's it. And so, you know, it's the final stretch, but the final stretch always feels the longest, especially with editing. Editing takes so long maybe just because your brain like second guesses things, or maybe because, you make mistakes or you miss things the first round of editing, so you always need a second round of editing and then a third, and it just kind of keeps going until it's like you're sifting through sand, right? And you just got to sift all the sand away so you get something clear in the sifter. But yeah, so I almost done, and I am done chapter 11, and that chapter I think will probably be people's favorite, just from finishing it up and seeing how far my art has come. It's a dreadful thing, but it's also an exciting thing. Dreadful because this chapter stands out when you compare it to like chapter 1. And then exciting because, oh my god, it got so much better. There is improvement. Yay! We did it, guys! But, yeah. And, yeah, I think chapter 11 looks pretty good. And now I just have to work on making chapter 12 as good or better, because that is the chapter that we end on, and you gotta end strong. Absolutely. That's how you do it. But, man, it is a little bit stressful. Especially the editing. The editing is going to be the most stressful for me. But one thing at a time, right? And then, of course, there's a lot of other plans for the year besides just finishing up the campaign that I started last year. I've got collaborative projects that I would like to move forward with. Collaborative with other artists. So that could be exciting, right? And maybe more guests to have on the weekly streams, because you might have remembered like I guess it was a while ago at this point, but it feels like it was recent. I did a stream with Eric and Eddie, and that was very fun. It was fun in a sense. It made me realize how much fun I have actually just talking about the process of making comics and making art. And I don't know if it's fun for everybody else, but it's fun for me. So I was like, man, I should do more streams like that, where I just like have on comic people and we just talk about our process, talk about making comics. I think that's something that I'd like to make more common here on the channel. And I've tried to do it before. I've tried to do it multiple times before, really. To no success, but I think just making it a part of these weekly Friday streams might just be the way to do it. I don't know. You can certainly leave me your own thoughts and opinions on the matter. Like, how would you like for these types of videos and streams to be done? But yeah, it could be good to have more guests. I figured it. But yeah, which assistant of a manga artist? If so, which one? Ooh, interesting question. I guess if I were going to be an assistant of a manga artist, it would be one that I would want mentorship from. Like a manga artist that I would like to draw like, if I were to do that. And honestly, there's no one particular manga that stands out amongst them. Yeah, I'm just looking behind me to see if I have any manga on the shelf. Because I guess the style that appeals to me the most is kind of a more 90s style. If I can think of any examples off of the top of my head. I don't know if I can. If I wanted to just learn from the best, I would probably say Sorry. I can't say this guy's name. Miura? Is that it? Kentaro Miura? I mean, that's one, right? But I wouldn't want to draw like Berserk. It's just that if you want to learn from the best, you go to people that you know are very good. And then I mean, living, I would say Yusuke Murata, right? He's also just very good. It's one of those things. Yeah, he was a real one. I will always have trouble saying his name, tragically. 90s was peak anime aesthetic. You know, possibly. There's a lot of really nice OVAs. If you ever get the chance to look at really old anime, check out some of the OVAs that came out around the 90s. That time period had a lot of bangers for whatever reason. They just have like some killer art and aesthetics. And it was amazing watching some of these OVAs and seeing people actually draw cars. Like, actually animate cars in 2D with drawings instead of just doing the CGI thing. Because nowadays, you just expect every vehicle and every car in every anime, you just expect it to be CG. Or traced over a 3D model or something. But man, those older OVAs, they actually drew it and they animated it and they actually understood how it worked, and it looks so much better. Honestly, it looks so good. Yeah, and horses. You're right, CGI horses. I don't even know why though, because horses aren't that hard to draw. I mean, maybe they're hard to animate, but like, I don't know, man. Come on, you can do it. Record of Lodos was gorgeous. I believe you. You know, I've not watched it. I was considering reading the manga at one point. I should look into it. I really should. It's just one of those, there's so many tabs of anime that I just have open, and I don't actually watch them because so many of them are subtitled, and so I can't work and watch them at the same time. People are going to start calling me a normie because I have all these tabs open with anime, but I don't watch any of them. I just like having the option to watch them. But yeah. 90s anime is great. It's fantastic. You just call him John Berserk. Yeah, that would be much easier, for sure. Now, in terms of learning to get better at art, right now, if you follow me on Twitter, or on X, whatever you call it, I've been doing value studies. I don't know if you guys know what those are. Right now, I'm just doing them in like pure black, pure white, because I figured like this is a good study to do, especially if you're working in black and white art, which is what I'm doing with a lot of my comics. I kind of prefer doing comics in black and white, honestly. Just because, like, it's not that I hate color or anything, but I just kind of like the vibe that hits with black and white art. You know? Feel like maybe you should save color for something, for an art piece that's more specific. But for just the comic part, keep it in black and white, right? So if you're an artist and you would also like to do some of these challenges, you take like a photo and you just try to do the darkest parts and the lightest parts, and you kind of block out the shape based on that. It's an interesting exercise. I've only been doing like 2 a day to just kind of keep it as a daily thing. I was doing more at one point, but it's kind of too much. It's hard to make it a thing that you do as a morning exercise when you do too much of it, you know, because it makes you not want to do any of it at all. Before this, I was doing the quick poses, and that is pretty interesting, but I kind of felt like it was getting, I don't know, I felt like I was stagnating, like I wasn't really moving forward. And values are another thing that I think a lot of artists, professional artists even, struggle with later on with their art. So I figure if I start getting into the practice early of defining those values, maybe I won't have to struggle that much later on. You know, get a head start on the things that other artists struggle with, and then that'll help. It also, I guess, helps you better see and memorize and understand that the world is not comprised of lines. It is a combination of light and shadow. And, you know, you kind of, once you learn to see the light and shadow, you can learn how to better show realistic things without using a bunch of lines to do so. Because, like, I mean, as you can already kind of see with the value studies, I'm not like drawing out the whole shape. I'm just blocking out the light and shadow, but that's enough for you to get an idea of what the shape is. So sometimes you gotta, in art, you gotta simplify, right? And once you learn how to simplify that, you can help. It can help the rest of your black and white drawings. At least that is the theory. We'll see. I still gotta learn a lot about like anatomy and all these other things. But you know, I'll do what I can for the regular morning exercises, and I'll like switch off what I'm studying occasionally. Just in general, the things that I struggle the most with, I'd like to do first. And I think that that'll slowly progress me in the direction that I need to go. I mean, I'm still studying art, right? But it's a little bit more stress-free. It's not like super intense studying. So I'm not expecting to get super good, super fast. But I just want to make sure that I'm not stagnating, or that I'm not failing in other places while I'm working on this comic. And then once I'm done the comic, obviously I'll be writing book 3, but I can focus a lot more on actually improving the art and doing more intense studies. Because, you know, you can't do too much at once. It's so true that you cannot just do too much at once. And of course, I got to do videos for the channel as well, on top of everything, right? So I got to get back to doing read-throughs and other things. There's a bunch of read-throughs that I still have to do on the channel that I said I would do. Some of the DCYA comics, naturally, I have not done them all yet. And there's a couple new ones that we're all dying to get to. There's also a couple indie comic reviews that I've recorded already, but I've not edited them. So I gotta get to doing that also. And by the time I change my backdrop, you're gonna notice, like, oh, this was an old video because the backdrop is the same. It's not changed anymore. So that'll be a thing. You got any plans for the stuff that just hit the public domain? the big ones this year, Nancy Drew and The Shadow. I don't know The Shadow, gotta be honest. I don't know what that is. I know Nancy Drew, and I was never such a huge Nancy Drew fan that I would be inspired to do a Nancy Drew story. I feel like sometimes people get this instinct because they want to be a writer and they want to like get noticed that they should use an IP as soon as it hits public domain. But I feel like you shouldn't do that unless you're actually interested in the IP, you know? Like if you're actually passionate about Nancy Drew, go for it. But if not, then like what are you doing? You're just wasting your time. You know, like what do you know about what Nancy Drew fans want to see and what they're going to pay for? You don't know nothing. Get out of here. But yeah, that's neat. I didn't know about Nancy Drew going into public domain. Would you consider releasing a color edition of Reaper 1 for shits and giggles? No, I don't think I would consider that. I don't think that would be very fun. Man. They also call what you're doing there spotting blacks. I did not know that. Interesting. Can't help adding color to all of my art. I worked on black and white studies for like a year, so I was pretty over it after a while, yeah. Well, that's kind of what I'm feeling about certain art studies. It's like once you do like enough of them, you're like, okay, I don't feel like I'm getting any better anymore. It feels like I'm just doing this for the sake of doing it, and the passion and the learning part just isn't there. And that's kind of why I decided to like switch and start doing something else. Throw your brain through a loop so that it can learn better, I guess. Some people say that works, and I am still like trying to do studies and still trying to learn through the studies. It's just like a different type of study, and all of these things are important. All of these things I have to learn eventually, so I wouldn't consider that a negative. Happy New Year. Thank you for the 5, Patrick. A wonderful year for you with much money and health. Do you have any difficulty to drawn any feeling in characters? Do I have difficulty drawing emotions in characters? Is that the question? I don't know. I think the difficulty is that for most of my life, I've been drawing nothing but like really simple cartoons, and it's only recently that I've tried to take the next step in drawing something a little bit more believable or grounded. You know, obviously I'm heading more towards the anime style, and that's been an interesting shift because I kind of have to retrain my brain like how to do these kind of more realistic things. And the difficult part when it comes to emotions, when you're drawing them in characters, is it's much easier for me to draw a very cartoony expression, but you don't know how much should you reel it back for a realistic expression. Like when it comes to an anime character, how much of that emotion should you show until it looks too cartoony? Where is that threshold of, okay, this is too cartoony, it looks silly now, versus, okay, this is a wooden block. There's not nearly enough expression in this. And you got to find that middle ground. And that's a little bit difficult for me because I got to figure out how much is too much. How can I bend this without breaking it, you know? But, you know, when you write, do you think of the story as a series, or do you write on a volume-by-volume basis? Interesting. So I think it kind of depends on the book, of course, because I've certainly written like one-shots, and I've written a lot of open-ended one-shots, really, that have the potential to be a series, but don't have to be a series, you know, leaving it open-ended. Reaper, I guess, was kind of like that at first, but at some point I decided to change the ending to make it a full series, because I thought it would be more interesting and more fun that way. So, do I have? I should have one of the books somewhere here. Oh my goodness. There it is. Where's book one? So, like, originally, this was a self-contained story that had a definitive ending, but then I saw an opportunity to change it so that it was open-ended, so that it could go on, and our main character could go on of an adventure exploring the rest of the world and learning lessons and making friends and stuff like that. And I thought that was much more fun, honestly. So I ended up going with that. But the plan that I had for the Reaper series, which is a little bit different than what manga does, but also different than what floppy American comics do as well, I wanted to make every book in the Reaper series its own story arc. So yes, manga is a long series with many different story arcs, but they usually don't divide the story arcs into the books. Rather, instead, the volumes are just a compilation of however many chapters they divided it into. Because the way that they do manga is they release it chapter per chapter, but then later on they collect it as a print version in these volume books. So they're not organized. They're not organized by story arc per se. It's usually a little bit random, but not that they're not in sequence. They're still in sequence, but you know what I mean. Like sometimes at the end of a volume, you'll get part of the next arc just kind of shoved in there, and that's how they do it. But I want it to be a little bit more organized with mine. So with the Reaper series in particular, I'm thinking of it volume per volume, but also how each of these story arcs connect on the bigger scale of things. Like, okay, what do they learn from this story arc going forward? What do they gain from this story arc going forward? How does that lead to this event, etc., etc.? But you know, it's a little bit more complicated, a little bit more ambitious than what I see other series doing, but we'll see how it goes. Maybe people will love it. Maybe people will be like, actually, this doesn't matter, and you're stupid, Dannphan. You know how it is. Nancy drew in the bloody hatchet. Oh yeah, you know, that is the thing. That is a thing, isn't it? Is that once something enters public domain, somebody, or multiple people, really, they just have to turn it into some sort of horror flick every single time. They just have to like, oh, but like, what if Winnie the Pooh was dark? Oh, oh yeah, you're so smart. Yeah. Good thinking. What if Nancy Drew was dark? Yep, very, very smart. Good job. You really subverted those expectations of mine. What if Mickey Mouse was dark? Yeah, you know. You know what I mean, though, right? Every single time that's going to happen. Every single time. And I'm never going to be interested in it. It's just kind of boring. Gotta be honest. Once you do the same thing over and over again, and you're like, it's a twist. I mean, is it? If I'm expecting it, is it still a twist? I don't know. But it is what it is. So. What if XY was a dark trend? 2010s killed it for me. Yeah, probably. That is kind of where it feels like a lot of that started. The 2010s, I think, was the start of the downfall of kind of all media. I mean, not that media didn't have its problems before that. It did. But I feel like it really went quickly once you got to the 2010s. Things got really bad really fast. Maybe it's just me. Don't know. Opinion on the Stranger Things finale. You know, I've seen a bunch of people talking about the Stranger Things finale randomly on my timeline. Even funny enough, like Twitter channels that I would not expect to be talking about the Stranger Things finale. But you know, me personally, I've never seen Stranger Things. I've just never seen it. I've never watched it. So I'm, you know, who cares? But I hear that the fans who watch the finale have mixed feelings on the finale. So it's sorry, I guess. Better luck next time, huh? Yeah, it's the epitome of not my problem. You know what I've actually been watching in the background of working on comics and things? Been watching MasterChef of all things, just because I don't have to pay attention to it. That's what it is. You see, because like anime, there's like a whole story and there's subtitles and there's action scenes, and you need your eyes glued to the screen so that you understand what's happening, and so you can fully enjoy it and immerse yourself in it. MasterChef does not have any of that. You can just listen to Gordon Ramsay yell at people and do whatever you want. You don't need your eyes anywhere near the screen. You don't need to be immersed. It's just like a fucking donut, and you can just draw and mind your own business while Gordon Ramsay screams. It's great. It's wonderful. But unfortunately, it's not. I'm not being necessarily inspired by MasterChef. I should get into watching real anime and real good things. We're just not at that point yet, you know? Right now, I need to grind. And once you're in grind mindset, you got to just focus on the work and you worry about other things later. I have been, of course, keeping up with manga. Manga is easy because it doesn't usually take long to read a chapter in the morning whenever a manga updates. It's not the same with like an episode, right? Because when you watch an anime episode, it's like, first of all, it's 20 minutes, and I usually don't take 20 minutes to read a new chapter. It's more like maybe 5-10 minutes. I'll be done a new chapter, especially the short ones, because so many manga updates are like 15 pages nowadays. It used to be an average of like 20 to 30 pages, right? Now, some series, they start to get shorter and shorter in their chapter length. I'm sure you've also noticed this if you're reading updates to manga. Yeah, it's probably just because they need to get them out faster. I don't know. It's fine. It's okay. I'm not mad. But anime, it's like a given. You're going to spend at least 20 minutes or more watching this episode. And then it's going to leave you on like some sort of cliffhanger 80% of the time. And you don't have to watch the next episode, however. The temptation is there. If you have the opportunity to click on the next episode, it's going to be tempting. So are you really spending just 20 minutes watching an episode of an anime? Or are you spending 8 hours binging the entire series? You know, it's tricky. At least when you read the chapter update, you're cut off because there's no new chapter. But anime, you can get sucked in. You really can get sucked in. I guess, you know, it is what it is. But yeah. Yeah, I enjoy watching anime in dub. That way I can paint Warhammer at the same time. Yeah, that's the only real reason why I watch certain anime in dub, is if I want to do something else, like kind of in the background, you know? But some dubs are really, really bad. And sometimes it's really hard. It's really hard to just watch the dub version instead of just, you know what I mean? Not all dubs are bad. I actually like certain dubs. There's some that I can think of that are like decent, but some are like a mixed bag where some of the voices are good and some of them are god awful. Like Summertime Rendering, good manga series, solid anime, I would say overall. But like some of the voices are on point, and then you just get the brother character, and he fucked that whatever woman was voicing him fucked him up so bad. It's the worst dub voice I've ever heard in my life. And then there's also the just general directing problems, because different people will say the names of characters differently. They won't pronounce the name right occasionally. So it gets really confusing. Oh man, the mixed bag anime dubs. Sometimes it happens. You know? A new problem that we're seeing in newer anime dubs is the translations just being terrible. I'm just kidding. That's always been a problem. Man. But now we have like the AI translations. And those are kind of funny sometimes, because you can always kind of tell that it's an AI translation if it's just like a word that's randomly wrong, that doesn't make any sense. But they didn't have a human check the subtitles. They just like ran with it. It's like, come on, guys. All you have to do is get a person to watch what the AI wrote and just fix it if it's wrong. That's it. But you can't even do that. People are so lazy. Man. I remember watching Summertime and I liked it, dropped it because the episode release schedule was awful. No, I totally get it. It's one of those weird ones because it was released on Disney Plus of all things. Like, I guess because Disney was trying to get their hands on some anime, because that's a obviously good thing to invest in, especially at the time when Disney Plus was coming out. People just wanted anime of all things. But yeah, there's a lot of manga series that I've not caught up on just because the release schedule was like all over the place, and I never knew when like the next volume or when the next chapter was coming out, and so like eventually I just forget about it and stop checking in on it. And especially when you're reading something that's not very popular, you don't have other people online to remind you when a new chapter is dropped. You know, you're kind of in the dark because you don't know anybody else who reads it. Oh, just recently, I learned that Kaiju Girl Caramelize is getting an anime, which is the only reason why I remembered that I need to go check back in on that manga series, because for a while it was just not updating for a really long time, really. So I don't know if the story has ended yet, and that's why it's getting an anime, because it's like just an easy thing to adapt, or if it's still ongoing, if it's just coming out with chapters very slowly. Let me see. We're gonna find out today. I reviewed it a really long time ago, So it's okay if you don't remember that I reviewed it. Did this series end? No, it's still going, at least according to the wiki, it's still going. The last thing, volume 9 just came out last month. So I guess, I don't even remember which of these volumes was the last one that I read. The last story arc that I remember, we were just starting in the series, is we were finally getting into the main character's origin and finding out why she has kaiju powers. But like we were going back to this island and she's gonna go train on an island or something, you know, classic anime thing, go to an island, go train, right? But yeah, I don't know what happens after that. It doesn't look like it's ended though, so who knows? Maybe it'll have a good ending, maybe it'll have a bad ending. I don't know. It feels like everything is just getting an anime nowadays. Even the lesser type of story, like this Kaiju Girl Caramelized, is something that I consider to be kind of a hidden gem, or at least at the time a hidden gem. Like I said, I haven't read the new volumes. Maybe it gets bad later. I don't know. I'll see when I start reading it, right? Maybe an update video is needed for that review. But from what I remember, it was kind of like this hidden gem manga series that romance fans would like. It was kind of like a, I guess, rom-com action-ish, but not really. It's more like the action played to the comedy. But it's not something that I would expect to get an anime if it wasn't super popular. And it's not really super popular. But it's getting an anime. It's weird. And then Black Torch. Do you guys remember when I reviewed Black Torch? I reviewed it, and I actually kind of like that review that I did of that, because I was talking about how somebody, the mangaka who did Black Torch, you know, they started off their series and it wasn't really the best kickoff to a series. Like the first couple chapters are kind of weird and directionless and a little bit paint by numbers, and they don't really do the best job setting up certain characters. But then after a while, I started to notice that the writing got better and better, and even some of the art was fantastic. And by the time we got to the end of Black Torch, I was like, man, it's a shame that this got canceled, because it seems like the mangaka was actually understanding how to do the series better and really like polishing up their craft. And I'd like to see that mangaka take this experience and make the best manga for their next project, you know. Start off on a better foot next time. But yeah, then I find out, oh, Black Torch is getting anime. It's like, what? It was canceled. It's a canceled manga. What are you what are you giving it an anime for? What do you mean? It's an older, like years old at this point. Years old and canceled manga. Why is that getting an anime? That's confusing. They say anime is just a commercial for manga. Yeah, but even so, that's true. That is true. It's a commercial for manga and it's a commercial for merchandise. That's what it is. They want you, it's the same thing in America. Every animated show that comes out in America is also just like a commercial for buy merch or buy subscription or, you know, buy something, because animation is really expensive and just watching it with advertisements is not going to pay for it. That's not enough. It's not enough money. You need people to be such fans of the animated project that they go out and they buy something to help support it. But yes. So, what was I talking about? You sent me on a, but yeah, it's weird. Even if we consider that anime is just a commercial for the manga, it's a canceled manga. That's confusing. Why do an anime for a manga that is canceled? Was it uncanceled? Is it back on? Does it have any resurgence? Actually, I will look this up. We'll find out together. Is this re-serialized again? No. It's not. Okay. Why is this happening then? Well, I know. Okay, so Viz Media adapted the manga, and I remember having the same comment back then. It's like, why is Viz adapting, or why is Viz taking manga from Japan and bringing it to America when these manga have failed? Like, wouldn't you want the successful manga series to be released in the States? That's my thought anyway. But Viz Media, according to this Wikipedia article, is the ones that made the anime adaptation announcement. Obviously, they have licensed Black Torch. So maybe it's to just... No, that doesn't make sense either. Because, like, the English release of Black Torch was also way, way long ago. Like, it's not new that it's being released in English either. Like, they started releasing the volumes in English in 2018. Years ago. Like I said, this is years old canceled manga. And as far as I read here, as far as this says, it doesn't seem like there's any plans to bring it back. Like, they're not starting off Black Torch all over again. I guess they might be doing like a second printing. Because you might as well, if you're going to pay for an entire anime series, you better fucking sell some manga to pay for it. But like, for a years old canceled manga series, this is really weird. I don't know. Maybe they think that deal was probably made before cancellation. There's no way that they made a deal with them in 2017 and just now are releasing the anime. I don't know, man. That doesn't sound right. Like 10 years ago they made this deal. I don't know, man. It's so strange. I don't know what's going on in the anime industry anymore, but it feels like everything is getting an anime. And I don't know if that's necessarily a good sign. Because you want the best series to get the anime. You don't want to just adapt this style of throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks. Maybe do a commercial for an author, not a manga? Or just a simple short OVA? Well, it says that it's a television series. Yeah, it says it's a series. I assume that they're going to just adapt the entire thing. Because there's only 5 volumes. It wouldn't be that expensive to really adapt 5 volumes. And you could also cut a lot out. Honestly, if 5 volumes is like pretty short for a manga series, right? In the grand scheme of things. But even within those 5 volumes that I read, there was like certain things that could be cut out or cut shorter. Very weird. I don't know what the thought process is. Maybe they think that it'll sell nice figurines because the art is really good in Black Torch. Very good art. Very sexy ladies. Maybe they're like, okay, this is how we're not gonna sell this manga series, right? But maybe we can sell the figures. Smart move, Viz. I see you. I see what you did there. I'm I'm just guessing. I don't know, right? But you know how it is. Typical corpos trying to cash in on the anime craze. Yeah, something like that. Something like that, I'm sure. I think maybe the theory is that if a manga doesn't do well, that's not necessarily a sign that that the manga is bad or anything. Maybe they see it as, well, the reason it didn't do well is because it wasn't marketed right, and if we come out with an anime series for it, maybe it'll do much better, or maybe it'll do better overseas when it didn't do very good in Japan. And to some extent, maybe they're right. There are certain series that have done much better overseas than in Japan. And maybe that is part of the reason why everything is getting an anime recently. Because maybe they're focusing a lot more on the overseas market and not caring so much about what Japan thinks. They're looking outside rather than in. So taking all of these different anime IPs that were canceled, and they're giving them a second chance to try to like resell them to the overseas market. Yeah, something like that. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. There's a lot of anime within the last couple years that feel like they were made not for Japan, for sure. They feel like they were made for like Americans or for some other country. Mostly Americans, let's be honest. But more people watch than read. Absolutely. Absolutely. The bigger question is how many of those people watching are also going to be buying afterwards. But I mean, I guess Crunchyroll makes out good with a lot of this stuff because they can make money off of the subscription. And maybe that's its own kind of, I don't know. I don't know for sure. But yeah, Europeans don't read manga. That is not true. Actually, Europe has its own like in-country manga, whereas America has kind of failed to make that happen. German manga is like kind of big. Italian manga also kind of big. There's one more. French manga is also pretty big. They do a good job at making manga within their own country, and it sells like also just as well as all the Japanese manga, funny enough. Granted, it's all like pretty high quality type of stuff. So no shame to that. Good job, Europe. I wish America had succeeded in doing the same thing. But a lot of America's business style tends to be outsourcing talent. That's what we're known for. We're known for getting stuff from another country and then selling it here. Not that we don't have talented people. It's just that the talented people in America very often get overlooked because it's expensive to hire us. So they want to get something cheap and easy to just sell. And licensing is cheaper than actually producing. So consider that, right? But yeah, the hour is actually up, guys. I do think we had some fun conversations. Granted, we were kind of all over the place in our conversations. So I'll recap a little bit. lots of good things gonna be happening for 2026. I have my New Year's resolutions. First on the to-do list is obviously finishing Reaper 2, getting that book in the hands of my lovely, lovely backers. You will have your book soon. Don't even fret, guys. And I'll also be updating the Subscribe Star as I finish up the chapters. I'll have chapter 11 up on the Subscribe Star really soon, probably this weekend. So for those of you who have the first reader tier, you'll get to read the newest chapter. I think you'll enjoy it. I think you'll have some fun reading it. And then it's the final stretch. Work on that last chapter. Work on the additional pages. Preview to the next book. Everything else that I said I would do in this book. I still need one more chapter cover from one of the guest artists. And you know what? Maybe this month or next month, if I don't have time, I'll do another drawing stream, and I'll draw some of the chapter covers. I think I'm doing two chapter covers on my own, and then the others are from guest artists. So I'll do that. I'll do a nice drawing stream. I'll doodle away, and that'll be fun. Get to do another drawing. It won't be like anything spoilery because they'll just be chapter covers. So that works out. That works out for everybody. Yeah, I think that'll be nice. And then we can look forward to some collaborative projects, some guests on the channel, talkie, right? And some new videos. There's a bunch of new videos that I have in the works currently that I just kind of have to finish up and edit together. That's always like the most time lengthy part of making the videos, is just like editing them and getting them polished so that they are ready for the YouTubes. But most of the work is done. Most of the video recording work is done. So that'll be fun. We got read-throughs to look forward to. I'm going to do some manga reviews, indie comic reviews, thrift store anime reviews. I still have some thrift store anime that I can pull out and look through. That'll be fun. And yeah, we can look forward to some drawing streams as well. And if there are any other videos that I left out of that list that you'd like to see me do, just let me know. Let me know what kind of videos you'd like to see from the channel in 2026. I'll do my best. Anyway, that's going to end this Friday stream for now. We've talked enough. We talked about all kinds of different things, and I think we're ready to close out. But Happy New Year to everyone watching. I hope 2026 has a lot of grand and exciting things ahead for you. You know, this is going to be your year. Congratulations, you got through 2025, and now 2026 is you. It's all you, man. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Till then, everybody. Bye-bye. Bye.